Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of video games. We cover all kinds from the mainstream to the indie, so I hope you enjoy your stay, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. Tataru's business has grown quite a bit thanks to your help, of course, and as to be expected, Majina could use your help again. Since the business has been growing, it's gotten the attention of a foreign merchant who dropped by and made a business proposition. That particular merchant was Hancock from the East Aldenar Trading Company, and since both you and Tataru know the man and his shady business practices well, Majina's already been told that he can't be trusted at all. But if you own a business, sometimes to grow you'll have to deal with some unsavory individuals, and Hancock's knowledge of the Hingan markets is exactly what Tataru needs if she wants to expand her business into the Far East. Because of that, she's decided to negotiate with him, but for some reason he wants the Warrior of Light to show up at the meeting in Kugane. Since it's to help Tataru, you agree to go, plus it's the only way you'll be able to get more parts for Tataru's necklace. Because no one respects the Warrior of Light's time, you actually have to wait for Tataru and Hancock to show up. Once they get there, Tataru wants to know exactly why Hancock demanded the Warrior of Light come to the meeting, because he's clearly plotting something. Of course he is, but he'll tell you about it after he lets you hear his business proposition. His company recently opened a clothing shop in Kugane, but the locals aren't really liking their designs. The plan was to promote the work of some weavers from Ul'dah, but the place has a different culture from Kugane, and a part of that is a completely different fashion sense. So Hancock decided to switch things up and make traditional Hingan clothes, but with the silks from Ul'dah. But that plan fell through when Hancock's crafter got sick. He thought about giving up, then he remembered Tataru's boutique and the fact that she's made clothes that fit the Eastern style, namely the samurai and ninja armor sets. Hancock figures that if the East Aldenar Trading Company puts her gear on display, it will show the people that the Western traders can make clothes that the locals like. And since Hancock heard that Tataru wants to get her business up and running in the East, he figured that a deal would work out for both of them. Tataru's interested, which means there's some things to talk about, but what she doesn't understand is why Hancock wanted the Warrior of Light. He actually didn't want you for anything dealing with the business, at least not directly. He ran into the Four Lords, and I have no idea how you just run into four gods by accident, but when he saw them they wanted to get in touch with you. And since getting an IOU from the Four Lords could be very useful, he said he would track you down. He's not stupid. He knew that any request sent by the East Aldenar Trading Company would be looked at sideways by the Warrior of Light if she didn't just throw it in the trash. So Hancock just lied and said that he needed you to help with Tataru because he's well aware of how willing you are to help your friends without question. He does plan on paying you a nice amount for your help, and he's already let the Four Lords know that you are on your way to the area. They want you to meet them in Sakazuki when you get the chance, and since they say it's an urgent matter, you head off while Tataru handles the dangerous task of negotiating with Hancock. Soroban, Seiryu, Suzaku, and Byaku all show up to see you, and after Soroban complains a bit about the torturous training he's been put through by Genbu's spirit, a spirit that's still living inside of him, you all start to talk about what they really wanted to tell you about. While sneaking around in Kugane, an auspice saw a man dressed like Tenzin and going around claiming to be Tenzin's long-lost descendant. He was using Tenzin's name to sell fake Lucky Charms, and the Lords, especially Suzaku, are not happy about it. She wants to burn the man alive, soul and all, and Seiryu wants to do even worse to him, especially since he claims to have the Four Lords on speed dial. While it's all very disrespectful, Genbu doesn't think things have reached the burned alive level just yet, but it does need to be put to a stop. They haven't exactly dealt with people on a regular basis, so they don't know how to deal with the imposter without permanently dealing with the imposter. That's why they called on you. They want you to find another way to deal with the man, but to do that you need to find him, and the Lords want to tag along. Granted, if they came in their normal forms they would cause people to panic. They don't exactly fit in, but they have the power to change their shape to make themselves less conspicuous, and because they don't know what stealthy actually means, they turn human-sized then put on rabbit and chicken costumes like that won't make people notice them. Soroban doesn't think the disguises will work since they're just stupid. But Byaku says that they couldn't just turn into human form because some people have the power to see through that trick, and that will lead to a lot of problems, so the horrible costumes will have to do. It's not hard to find the con man. He has a whole crowd of people around him, and he is wearing a replica of Tenzin's armor that isn't exactly that hard to come by. He claims to also have Tenzin's flaming sword, the Phoenix Blade, which is an outright lie since the four lords have kept the blade in the temple since Tenzin died. Some of the people aren't buying it, so the imposter calls on his four lords, which is a red Kojin, a regular woman, an Aura man, and a house cat. The only part of this insane display that Byakko is actually mad about is the fact that the Tenzin impersonator didn't at least hire a cat boy to play him. The audience thinks it's dumb too, but they believe the lie sort of when the man says that they're hiding their normal form. Granted, some people think the lords would have chosen to look a little less stupid on their public outings, but even Soroban sees that the impersonator made his four lords look less ridiculous than the real ones decided to dress. The whole display is making the real lords move closer and closer to just killing the man, but one person in the crowd mentions the fact that there was no mention of Tenzin even having a kid before he died, so he can't possibly be his descendant. The imposter has an answer for that too. He claims that Suzaku actually had a kid for Tenzin, and her reaction to that comment proves that whether she had a kid for Tenzin or not, they definitely touched naughty bits a time or two. That is all the crowd needs to hear to decide to buy the man's charms, and it also makes the real four lords decide to scare the imposter straight so he'll never slander their names again. But since none of the lords plan on taking the easy route of dragging the con man to the bottom of the ocean without your handy little underwater breathing blessing, you'll have to find a clever way to expose the man's lies. Since he was quick on his feet when it came to countering people's arguments, that might be a challenge. But of course, the easiest solution is oftentimes the best one, so everyone opts for just revealing that they are the four lords, with the Warrior of Light claiming to be Tenzin's actual descendant, since she is in a way. He'll definitely confess when he sees that, so Byakko and Soroban head back to the temple to retrieve some things, while the Warrior of Light, Suzaku, and Seiryu go to track the imposter down. Some people saw him heading to a bridge in the city, and when you get there, a man did see him pass, and he still can't believe there are so many people who actually believe that man is really Tenzin's descendant. He has no idea where he went, but your old and definitely not friend Namazu Gyoto sees you. He knows exactly who you're talking about, and he gives you a name probably so Lise won't kick him again. The Tenzin impersonator's name is Ishu, but he's not the mastermind behind this little scheme. That honor falls to a man who you've dealt with a time or two, Kageyama. His hands are always in something unsavory. Last time he tried to block trade with Ul'dah because he didn't want to deal with foreign merchant competition, and he did it in a way that should have gotten him killed. I'll link that story in the description so you can check it out later. It turns out Ishu is a very skilled weaver who was really focused on his craft, which makes it odd that he partnered up with Kageyama. Gyoto knows where the pair meet up, and he's willing to share that info for a little bit of money. The four lords are super rich, and they're fine with giving him some money if he heads to their temple. They don't make the place sound all that inviting, but Gyoto's not all that smart, so he doesn't care. He's still going, but he does keep his word and lets you all know that they're meeting on the Isle of Bekko. So you don't miss the meeting, Suzaku sends a messenger to the temple to tell Byakko and Soroban where you're headed, and the three of you head off to the Isle. You all spot the pair, and it immediately becomes clear that Ishu isn't scamming people of his own free will. He's genuinely terrified of what the four lords will do to him if they ever get word of what he's been up to, but Kageyama won't let him quit. He gave the man work after he lost his job, which kept his family from being homeless, and because of the debt he owes, if Ishu quits, Kageyama will make sure that everyone knows about the scam, which will make sure that Ishu never gets another job. The man is trapped, and Kageyama knows it. What he doesn't realize is that Seiryu, Suzaku, and the Warrior of Light all heard who the true criminal is, and now they know who to punish. You all charge out and reveal yourselves, and once Soroban and Byakko show up, they toss the Warrior of Light the real Phoenix Blade and reveal themselves in a way that would make absolutely anybody wet themselves. Seeing you holding the Phoenix Blade with the real four lords, who are all powered up like they're getting ready to attack, makes Kageyama beg for his life and run away while promising to never take any of your names in vain again. Ishu wasn't scared in the least. He actually seemed excited to see the lords in the flesh, and the whole incident reminded Byakko of the time where Tenzin made him pretend to be a wild animal to run a lot of people out of a doomed village. He thinks your acting is way better than Tenzin's, which made the whole thing a lot of fun. Ishu apologizes for his part in all of this, but since they know why he did it, and they've all made bad decisions of their own in their life, the lord's forgiven. And since he is nearly a master at sewing, Soroban gets an idea. However, what he's planning isn't something that the other lords are all that interested in, so they get ready to head back to the temple. But before they leave, they do want to know what Ishu will do now that he doesn't have to play Tenzin anymore. Even though he was being forced to scam people, he does plan on confessing to the Sekisei Gumi when he gets back to Kugane, which will get him a bit of jail time. but after that he'll take his trade up again and work to pay back everyone he scammed. That's good, noble, and stupid. He should be putting all of the blame on Kageyama since he forced him to do it, but lucky for him, Sorbon's already called Hancock and Tataru. The man needed someone to make his clothes, and he's more than willing to hire Ishu right away, and he's already talked to the second Segumi about the situation. Ishu won't have to go to jail as long as he helps them bring down Kageyama. That's a deal the man is more than happy with, and with Hancock being a man of his word once you get him to give it, he hasn't forgotten about the Warrior of Light's payment. She wants something for Tataru's necklace, which he's more than happy to provide. Everything's been solved, but Tataru does want to know why the Four Lords called on Hancock instead of her when they needed help, since she was involved with the whole Koryu incident. Genbu figured that she was busy, and since she couldn't exactly fight, she might not have been able to help out all that much. But it all worked out well in the end, so they head home while the rest of you do the same. Ishu gets started with his work immediately, and after he gives you the last outfit he made before his involuntary servitude started, as well as the item Hancock promised, Tataru lets you know that she and Hancock made a deal, and from this day onward the two of them will be working together in Kugane, and she wants you to let Megina know the details. When you tell the woman about the deal, she's not surprised, but she is surprised that Hancock sent a very rare black pearl to be a part of Tataru's necklace. She knew he was rich, but she didn't know he was that rich, and working with Tataru, that means he'll only get richer. For now, that's the end of this story. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, ding that notification bell, and if you really want to show your support, you can donate to the channel through the link in the description. Until next time, guys. Later.